Memphis Noah's here, folks, showing you how to set up and pack away the Coleman Instant Swagger 3-person tent with Darkroom technology. Hit it. This has got an instant up frame for easy setup. You can use it with or without the fly and offers a nice sturdy shelter for up to 3 people. So this is how the Swagger 3P with Darkroom technology comes when you buy it. The bag, or it comes in this bag, measures about 120 centimeters in length and it's about 23 centimeters in a square sort of size on the ends there. Lots of room in the bag from new because it's packed up from the factory at the moment. When you pack this up again, it'll take up a bit of extra space in the bag. Now it weighs around about 10 kilos with everything inside. We'll start by showing you what comes inside the bag. So pretty straightforward. All of this is rolled up inside itself, secured with just a couple of nylon straps here. We've got the main inner portion of the tent. This has got the frame and the inner all wrapped up together as one. This is the fly sheet here, which has got that Darkroom technology on it. And you get a couple of extra bags here. This has got a couple of awning poles, which will show you where they get used shortly, and a bag of just basic pegs and some guy ropes there as well. And there is also just a little repair kit, so a few extra bits of fabric and stuff and some warranty information so you can patch up any damage. These are just lightweight pegs. Would also always benefit of updating or upgrading this with a handful, maybe 4 or 6 heavy duty pegs that you can use on the guy ropes or the main peg points on the ground, especially if you're using it in soft ground or in particularly bad weather. Now, first thing we need to do to set it up is spread the inner out and peg the 4 corners in place. Okay, so I've got the tent oriented how I want it here at the moment. It's made up of a ridge pole here and 2 angled poles at the ends. And you can see we've got a doorway here. It's just one doorway that I'm going to have facing that way. So the next step for me now is to grab 4 pegs and peg the 4 corners in place. I like to do that regardless of the weather, in case the wind picks up and sort of takes it across the campsite. If you've got it pegged down, you're not going to damage the tent. You might need to adjust that again afterwards, but I've just sort of pegged them loosely at the moment, but I know it's secure to the ground. Now, I had a bit of a play around. I think it's actually easiest to extend this center pole first. So come to the middle here and extend this out. You've got a little locking point here, so this end extends outside or within the inside of this end here. Pull this until little silver button appears and locks into place there. Then we come around to the end of the tent and we can extend these poles on each side. Don't force them. They should just slide into place comfortably. So that's locked in, that's locked in. We do the same the other end, and that's the inner tent as good as set up. So now I've got the poles extended. The pegs sort of need a little bit of adjusting here, so I'm just going to pull this one out and just pull it tight, put that back in place so that it's nice and taut across the front here. Now that's the inner setup, and you can actually use it like this. Coleman have actually incorporated guy ropes on the inner tent of the Swagger. Traditionally, their Instant Up series have always said to use the fly sheet all the time because there's no guy ropes on the inner tent. The fly sheet has guy ropes, which creates stability for the tent. In this instance, you don't have to have the fly sheet on. You can just use these guy ropes, peg this out for stability. So if it's a warm night, you don't want that extra layer, you could just use it as it is. What I'm going to do now though is throw the fly over the top. So the first thing I want to do is orient the fly so that we've got the doorway and the awning at the front here. Now I know the front of the tent or the doorway of the tent is this side here. We've got the Darkroom logo and the Coleman logo here. There's a zipper with an eyelet in it that runs up here. And then about another sort of meter and a bit across from that, there's another zipper. So this section of the fly here is the part that's going to sit in front of this door. So I can throw the back of it over. And then once you've thrown it on, just be aware that there are little tabs. These here, Velcro tabs. These go around the frame of the tent to secure the fly to the frame. So we just need to make sure we reach up underneath and secure these around these poles on the end here. So let's throw it over and get it on. Okay, so we've got the fly in place now. We've got the door, windows at the end here. We can reach up underneath here and find those little tabs and secure these around the pole. And then at the bottom of the pole, or bottom of the tent here, there's a little plastic hook which just secures to the plastic D-ring on each of the feet of the tent here. Now I did actually just notice after putting this on that in terms of orienting the fly, Coleman have incorporated a red tab on this corner which lines up with a red tab on this corner here. So Don't worry about looking for the doorway, just line up red with red. Now from here, we can go around and put pegs in around the base. There's one peg at the rear here and a couple of pegs at the front just to hold this vestibule in place. And we've also got the guy ropes on each end of the fly here, so 2 here and 2 at the other end. So that's the Swagger setup. If this is how you use it if it was really bad weather and you want to stay nice and dry, but you've got a few other options for setup. Firstly, at each end, you've got there's windows here. Keep it closed if it's a really wet night. Alternatively, if it is a cool night, you want extra ventilation, or you need to just roll it up for ventilation on a warm night, you can roll these up like this, and that looks through to another mesh window on the inner there, so you've got ventilation at each end of the tent. These do also have little guy ropes attached to them, so you can set them up to peg this out like this so that you've got a bit of a weather protected awning over the top of the window here. So if it is just light rain, this is going to allow ventilation underneath and keep the rain out from the window. And you've got one of these at each end. There's also a vent at the base at the rear, which you can adjust from the inside, but that's what the extra peg at the rear is, just to pull the fly out a little bit and allow a bit more ventilation at the ground level. And the last option for setup is the awning at the front here, for which we use the included poles. So 2 poles here, which are connected by a spring-loaded cable there. Just put them together. There's a hook at the top that will go through the eyelets in the corners of the awning here. Put both of those together and get 2 of the guy ropes ready. There's 2 extra guy ropes that come with your kit. Tie some loops in the end of these, and we can use these in combination with these poles and the pegs to set this up as a weather-protected awning out the front here. So that's the awning setup as a weather protected entrance. These awning poles do have a little loop over the top, which is kind of cool, just to help stop the guy rope from flipping up over the top. Just adds a bit more security. So that adds, as I mentioned, a weather protected entrance into here, a bit of shade if you like, depending on which way the sun's coming, or a bit of rain protection. But you can also roll this back up against the tent here. There's got a couple of tabs here, so you can roll it up, keep it out of the way, so you can leave this door open for ventilation. It's a double door there. You can see you've got this sort of storage space here. If this was zipped down, you can just leave this zip down for storage there as well. That's how you set up the Coleman Instant Swagger 3P with Darkroom. Pretty easy, set up by myself, a nice, neat, secure little tent. Pack up, just as easy, everything in reverse. I'll start by just taking all the pegs out and collapsing down the awning at the front here. I've taken the pegs out from the fly, but I've left the pegs in the 4 corners of the main inner tent here for now, just so that it's secure to the ground, while in case any wind picks up, so it reduces the risk of any damage. So undo these clips on the corners of each of the D-ring on the corner there, and don't forget to undo the Velcro tabs up underneath here. Do that on both ends, take the fly off, we can fold that up, and then we'll collapse the inner down. So we'll collapse the inner tent down now. I'm going to come to the end poles here first, and the little silver button partway down here, push that in so that these poles start to collapse in on themselves. Do that on both sides. Shouldn't have to force them, they should just come down naturally and sit without being pushed down into this position. These are the composite poles. These are all attached. I didn't mention this on setup, but these are all attached to this hub here. These all just kind of fold in together. You don't need to do anything with these poles here. They just sit there, they create a bit of extra headspace. So we do the same thing at the other end here. And then once we've done that, we can jump to the middle and collapse the center pole. Now, it's probably not a bad idea just to leave the door open a little bit as you pack this down, to allow air to escape as the tent collapses down. We come to the middle button here, push this in, and let all the frame collapse down onto the tent. You might need to just wiggle it a little bit to get it down nice and flat. Making sure that this doesn't twist in the middle here. If this twists, it may get stuck, so try and keep the frame as even as you can and collapse it down. Now, it won't sit right flat until we've taken the pegs out of the corner, because the fabric's kind of holding it in place. So just push it down as far as it will naturally go. Now that I've got the tent flat on the ground, I'm going to take the pegs out of the corner and we'll fold the frame in. So now we want to fold the frame in on itself. Push these legs right in as far as they will go, and these legs fold in on the center frame here. So make sure this is as tight as it will go. You may find, because this has got a flat section on the bottom here, if this does twist at all, it'll kind of get stuck. So you might need to just twist it a little bit to make sure that collapses in as well. Shouldn't have to force it. If it's tight, it's probably just because the pole's twisted a little bit. You just need to grab this hub and just untwist it so that it slides nice and smoothly. Then fold these in on themselves. You've got those little composite arms here as well that you just need to tuck in against the frame there, so that all of this frame is now sitting together against that center pole there. Do the same at the other end. So we'll push these legs all the way in, fold these up. Probably can almost grab these as you go and fold them in with it. So just make sure that that sits flatter. It's easier to grab when you can see it rather than trying to find it inside the fabric. And make sure they all sit flat in the middle there. And we can now see that we've got kind of almost a square. Not really. Diamond maybe, I suppose you can call it. So fold one side over the other so the frame now sits down level with the side here. I'd recommend probably rolling or storing the fly separately to the frame. You can now roll this. Now as I'm rolling, I can feel some resistance. I think one of the little arms, I can feel one of the arms here is sticking out a bit. So I just need to make sure that's pushed up against the frame so I can now easily roll it nice and firmly. We can then grab the straps, probably only need one really. And then we can put everything back in the bag. And that went back in the bag really easily. Now I've taken up a bit of extra space than when we started because obviously I don't roll it up as tight as the machine at the factory did, but we've still got room inside there. So it is an oversized bag to make it easy to pack up when you're departing camp. That is how to set up and pack away the Coleman Instant Swagger 3P with Darkroom Tent, swag, whatever you want to call it. Kind of fills that void between what a tent is and what a swag is, or offers a good option in between. Check these out online where you find them at snowies.com.au at our lowest prices every day. If you do have any questions, let us know down in the comments below. Subscribe to our channel for all of the latest and greatest information, or check out some other cool Coleman products like these ones down here.